What's up? Welcome back to the Alpha Girl Confidence Podcast. This is episode 180. I'm your host, Shay Haddo. And in this episode, I sat down with Jessica Burgio, who is the founder and creator of Beauty Inspires Beauty. She's a transformational confidence coach and, of course, a soccer mom. This episode is highly valuable for parents as we talk about how important it is for parents to model confidence for your kid instead of just telling them to be more confident, why you need to put yourself first in order to give to your kids, and the power of setting healthy habits individually and as a family. I hope you enjoy this episode as much as I did. Get ready to take notes. Enjoy. Hey, Jess, what's up? Welcome to the show. So excited to have you on and dive into all of the things, ambition and motherhood and all that good stuff.
I love it. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah. So give us a quick little snapshot of you, kind of what you're about, what you do.
So I love this. And I know, Shay, you speak to so many young girls around confidence. So that's why I was really excited to be on your show, because I, several years ago, started a program at the Y called Strong Girls. And it was a mentorship program for teen girls. And that's where my connection with you, I was like, oh, I got to talk to Shay. We got to talk about all the things confidence, because at the core of what I do, I am a confidence coach, packaged as a beauty coach. So I mentor and coach people in the beauty industry, creative entrepreneurs who are looking to grow and build their brand. So that's about what I do. I've been in the hair industry for 20 plus years. I've owned a salon. I've sold a salon. I now own a creative space in San Diego where I host education classes, workshops, provide space for other people to come and teach as well. Education's always been something I'm passionate about, but also mentorship and, guidance. I'm a mom of a 10-year-old boy who is like my best buddy and has taught me all of the life lessons that, I never knew I needed. So that's me in a nutshell. I live in San Diego and I just 41. So I'm feeling like that number is like stickier than 40 was. So it's weird.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't experienced that yet, but good to know. So I did not know that you did that. So it's called Strong Girls at the YMCA. That's actually one of the very first things I did in person. Like when I started confidence coaching was also at the YMCA. So that's really cool. And I would love to ask you, I think this is interesting to ask, confidence coaches, were you always confident?
That is a weird question, right? Because you're like, there are times in my life looking back that I wasn't confident.
Yeah.
But I think overall, I had parents that were like, you can do anything, you can dream, whatever you dream, you can be it, do it. Like, we'll help you, whatever. Not a lot of guidance around how to do it, but I always, every birthday card said, chase your dreams. I'm so proud of you. Like, do you, basically. Right. So I think, looking back, I remember being in situations as a kid where nobody would raise their hand. Nobody wanted to go first, or and I was like, well, I will. If you go first, no one can compare you to anybody else, right? You're the first one. So I think I learned early on that, if you not fake it till you make it, but basically if you just put yourself out there, what's the worst that's going to happen? Someone helps correct you and you can do it better. So I was always open to constructive criticism and being coached and being told, tell me how to do it better. So I think that wanting to learn and grow gave me took the fear out of, stepping into being confident. And the more you do stuff, obviously, the more confident you get at it.
I love that. So what really called you to become a confidence coach then? What was it?
I feel like it fell into my lap, right? Because people kept coming to me for things and hey, you seem like you always can blah, blah, blah. Or how do you always stay so motivated? Or, it seems like you're doing all these things. Aren't you scared? And I'd be like, well, yeah, I'm scared. But if I wasn't scared, that would mean I didn't care about it. So I just take my fear as a awareness that it means something to me. So, when you get the butterflies in your stomach or when you get really sweaty and nervous about something, if you didn't care about it, you wouldn't feel like that. So I had to talk to myself, okay, if I feel like this, it's because I care. So then it changed the perspective of how I had that, and just sharing how I overcame things kind of created that space for me to become somebody to speak about confidence, which is underlying like motivation, inspiration, all that kind of good stuff goes under the umbrella of confidence.
Yeah, there's like so many things that you can talk about as it relates to confidence. And one thing you said that I really liked is how you used fear and you didn't assign like a negative meaning to the fear. It's like fear was something that was like, oh, this is good because that means that I care. And I think that's where a lot of times everybody, but especially, teenage girls go wrong. And it's like, oh, I'm nervous. Oh, I'm scared. That means I'm not good enough. And they let it really bring them down. But it really is just about how you perceive the thing and and the meaning you assign to that emotion, so to say. So I love that.
Yeah. And perspective is everything.
Yeah.
Something terrible can happen and you can have a perspective of like, okay, and then move forward, right? Or you can let it eat you alive, and it could be the smallest thing, like someone cut you off, and your perspective, just go crazy. And once you become a parent, like your perspective has to change. Like you have no choice in the matter, because every day will be challenging and hard. Having a child is like, it's so much fear around. You've never done it before. Even some guy in the grocery store the other day, like heard me parenting. He's like, I like that. And I go, I don't know what I'm doing, bro. It's my first one, my only one. I hope I'm doing it right. And he laughed and he was like, I'm like, I have to be confident as a mother because I'm the leader that he sees. So, becoming a mom makes you step into a whole different level of confidence, because you're now responsible to teach somebody else how to show up in the world.
Yes. And let's go down that rabbit hole, because there's so many times, obviously I work with the girls, but I have a lot of parents in my community and stuff. And I always get the question, like, how can I help my daughter become more confident? Right. And to me, I'm like, well, you got to show it. You got to show it, like you got to lead. And that's exactly what you said. So for you, I don't know. I just want to hear like your insights, like, why is that so important for parents to really like embody confidence in themselves if they want to help their kids become more confident?
I mean, this one might touch some nerves. Like if you got parents listening, like
Yeah, let's
it's
do it.
tough. It's tough. It is. My mom had me at 19. Okay. My mom had me at 19. I didn't have my son until I was 30. That was my goal. I will not have a baby before I feel confident enough that I can be a good role model. I don't have to have enough money. I don't have to own my own home. I don't even have to fucking be married to the person. I just have to know that I could show up as a confident human to parent this child. Now shit happens. My mom got pregnant. Like that's a whole ass backstory there, right? Do you think she was confident to step into being a mother at the time? No. But so thankful she chose to figure it out, because here I am. But fast forward to those of us who have chosen to be parents, who have made the decision to like raise another human, and you're now responsible for how they are contributing to the world. Like you don't have to be confident in everything that you do, but if you show confidence around the majority and the most important things in your life, that will reflect in your child, right? I see people, I've worked for people, I've kind of not been a nanny, but kind of worked for this woman, and she had 2 daughters and 2 sons. And one of the girls was really close with the mom, and every day the mom would talk about her weight. And she wasn't really overweight. She wasn't necessarily healthy either, but all she talked about was being on a diet, doing keto, like not eating carbs, not doing this, not doing that. And what happened to the daughter? She 12 years old, like eating habits went all crazy. She started binging, she started hiding food in her room. Like things started happening that those behaviors wouldn't have normally happened if mom was just like, hey, like, let's have a healthy dinner tonight. We had pizza last night.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be as complicated as we make it sometimes. And that's something that I've argued with my mom over the years, because my mom and my grandmother were health freaks. But at the same time, my mom had me at 19. We weren't buying organic vegetables.
Right.
Kraft mac and cheese, which is probably not even actually Kraft. It was probably like the cheaper, version with hot dogs and no name peanut butter. And I'm like, Mom, I came up all right. I'd steal $1 out of her purse to go buy a cookie and a Dr. Pepper. I lived off of hot Cheeto Frito things for like 3 years in high school, And so when she sees me give my son candy or ice cream, and she's like, that's not healthy, Jessica, that's not okay. I said, you know what? You telling me that all that stuff was bad was after I stopped being so active in high school. I put on a ton of weight because I would get the cookie. I couldn't just have a bite of it. I had to eat the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because I was like, if my mom I was like 19, 20, I was like living on my own, thinking about if my mom, but my friends who grew up around fast food, they could eat half the cheeseburger. And I was like, what's wrong with you? Like, you might not ever get a cheeseburger again. You better eat the whole thing.
Yeah.
So that's where me being aware enough that could cause issues later on. I have to be so confident in that with my son, and he's a boy. So that's not traditionally something men struggle with, but it could be. You see little boys put on weight if they're not aware of their bodies. So we talk about it. We talk about why there's carrots on his plate, why there's broccoli, that kind of stuff.
I love that. Okay. So first piece is developing self-awareness of like, cause a lot of times, parents aren't modeling the behavior, but it's because they're not aware that what they're doing is maybe impacting their child in a certain way. So awareness is number one, but also I love the last thing you said, which is like, this is why we're eating this way. This is why we're developing these habits. Because a lot of times it's like, you're just like, oh, because I told you so. A kid will ask, well, mom, why do I have to eat carrots? Because I told you so. Let's actually have a conversation about it. So I love that. And like, let's actually talk about why we're doing those things. I think that's powerful.
Well, it's your responsibility now as a parent to make sure that you've educated your child
Yeah.
to then be able to make decisions on their own.
Yeah.
In a short while, they're going to be on their own having to make those decisions.
Mhm.
And, my son's been an athlete since he was like 2 years old. He just naturally like loves to move. And luckily, I understand nutrition well enough to say, the reason why you had a shitty practice today and you couldn't run very far and you kept getting cramps, you're probably dehydrated. We've been eating too much sugar. Oh my God, you haven't had any, citrus fruit this week. Like it sounds so stupid, but it's
Right.
so important. Any high level athlete, any high level like leaders or achievers, they pay attention to what goes in their body.
Yeah.
Tony Robbins just wrote a book on this. Like all of these crazy things he does to live at the level that he does. So let's just dumb it down to us normal people, right? Like, how do we want to function every day? Do we want to have chronic pain? Do we want to be fatigued? Do we want to any of those things? No. Do you want that for your kid? No, definitely not. And so if
Yes.
they're struggling in school, it's like, how do you get to the root of things? And that's where
Mm.
like having the confidence to like, okay, maybe as a parent, I don't like broccoli either. Let's all decide what green vegetable we're cool with this week, and let's just all like hold hands and choke it down together. Like
Yeah.
have confidence to do things as a parent that maybe you don't want to do, but it's for the betterment of how you're going to help your kid be.
Yes. And like speaking of like those habits, like I know you're a big advocate of habits and like building healthy habits and everything. And I think it's important that, as parents, it's like, let's not just tell our kids to go develop these habits, but let's develop them as a family and really, really do it together. So what are some habits that, like you top of your list? Like what are some of those healthy habits that you feel like have made a big difference in your life and your son's life?
Routine. So morning routines around how we get ready in the morning. First and foremost, we wake up at a certain time. My son doesn't like to be rushed. So I'm like, okay, I can't let you sleep till a certain point and then only give you 15 minutes to get ready for school. The kid's like me. He likes to wake up. He likes to relax a little bit. He likes to eat breakfast in bed. There's certain things I give and take on. Like some people like, you let your kid eat in bed? Yeah. It calms him in the morning. I bring him his breakfast, of a super healthy breakfast generally. But some morning he's like, please, can I have cereal today? I said,
Yeah.
okay. I want you to be really aware of how you are at school today when I give you the cereal.
Oh, I love
So
that.
you can have it. You can have it, but it's going to be extra hard for you to sit still in class this morning.
Oh,
And
that's
we're just aware of it. Like you
yeah.
can still be a kid. I'm still going to let you have the sugar cereal every once in a while. But for me, my morning ritual is so important. And it's how like I've been able to function and the way that I can show up in the way that I do.
Yeah.
It's that time. So I luckily now am a morning person. I wasn't always, but I also too didn't like to be rushed in the morning. So I realized, okay, give yourself more time so that you can enjoy getting ready in the morning. You're not like frantically like stressing and getting out the door like last minute. My mom was always late, and I remember always being the last one picked up. And I was like,
Yeah.
I will not be that parent. I will not be that parent. And so I make it a point to like get up at like 4:30 or 5. I get 15, 20 minutes. I drink my coffee. I do my little visualization because I suck at meditating, and I journal, and then I do some sort of movement. Some mornings I just stretch on my little Zen room. Other mornings I do clarity walks. If I've got a lot of shit going on in my head, I need to process. Clarity walks for me are like moving meditation.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll do a guided walk with listening to something, but generally my clarity walks are no music, no phone, no nothing. Go and give yourself that quiet space to be outside and just let things process however they need to. But most days, if I need to get shit done, if I have a full day at the salon, if I'm coaching, if I'm on calls all day, I have to do a high level workout where I'm sweating and I'm releasing those endorphins, because then I'm calmer and I can focus. So those three things, I just keep it super simple. A little bit of quiet time in the morning, the journaling, and then the movement. So if you do nothing else, implement one of those three things.
I love that. So like walking seriously is life changing. Like the best ideas I get are usually like walking or meditating, right? But like walking is just like so good for your mind and your body. And so I love that one. Journaling, what's your journaling practice look like?
So for me, originally journaling was tough. I was like, what am I going to write today? I felt so much pressure around doing it right. First and foremost, let me just tell you, there's no wrong way to journal.
No,
Um, Journal prompt books help me a lot.
for sure.
So like you'll open it to that next page, there'll be some sort of question or like a thought or maybe a quote, and you can just write off of that. Some days I was like, I don't want to write about this. So I would just cross it off and free write.
Yeah.
Other days it would totally spark something in me and then it would pour back into like whatever was going on in my life, or it would take me back to a place. Journal prompt journals are really great, but then also having one that's totally empty, has nothing in it. I try to release whatever is coming up for me that morning, like because you usually wake up with something on your mind. It's either
Yeah.
stressing you out or you're excited about something for the day.
Yeah.
We don't usually wake up in like a whatever state.
For
You're
sure.
usually one of the two. Like, oh my God, today I get to do this, or oh my God, today I'm so busy. So writing all of it down, pen to paper somehow, just releases it. I'll light a candle. That symbolizes for me like a sense of like, space clearing. If you want to get woo, you can do Palo Santo or some
Yep.
sage to really release whatever's maybe stuck in there.
Yeah.
But writing just brings an awareness to your emotions. And when we can be connected to our emotions, which is what a lot of teenage girls have a hard time doing because
Yes.
we're still stuck in our head. We're so surface with shit. How could you not be when you're compared 24/7 to like everything online and everybody at school? Like, I thank God I didn't have social media in high school.
Yes, me too. Gosh.
But for those of you who have children that do, or for any of you teenagers listening that do have it, journaling is a great practice for you to work through things that maybe you want to say to somebody. Maybe
Mhm.
something's on your mind and you just need to like get it out. And it wouldn't be productive to tell one of your girlfriends because it's not like for them to fix. It
Yeah.
wouldn't be of you to talk shit about to somebody else about whatever's on your mind. Or maybe it's something really personal that you feel like you can't share with anybody. Put it in paper and close it and put that somewhere safe that is just for you. And often when we write it down, we can come back to that. And it's that act alone is enough to process through or start the process of processing through whatever that emotion is. Because I
Mhm.
promise you, whatever emotions you're feeling, they will pass and you will get to a different place, a better place. And journaling is not meant to be like a dumping ground. It's also a place where you can pour into your future self. So some days I like to future cast. If I have
Yeah.
enough time, I'll do all of it in one day. But future casting is basically just casting the vision of what you want your life to be like. It's basically like written manifestation.
Yeah.
Today my day will look like this, and write out exactly how you want your day to go, how you want your week to go, your year, your life, whatever is
Right.
calling you to write.
Yeah.
Maybe even write a letter a year from now of how the last year, like how will you be in a year from now? What will you be celebrating? What will have come to fruition in a year?
Yeah.
Things
I
like
love
that.
that. I love that.
Because
So
it
go ahead. Go
good.
ahead.
I was gonna say it just gives perspective, like we
Yeah.
were talking about in the beginning, that whatever's going on now, like it can be like that. If I know I want it to be like that, what steps do I need to start taking now to start the process to get these things going?
Yeah, I mean, it just brings you so much clarity too. Like clarity, it helps you process your emotions. And like I know there's probably some moms listening and being like, I don't have time to do all of those things. So for you, first of all, how long does your morning routine usually take? And then also like what would you say to the parent that's like, I don't have time to do that kind of stuff?
Yeah. I was queen of saying, I'm too busy. I'm too busy. Like that's it. And I watched my mom get up every morning and go for a walk. She went for a walk and worked out every single morning, and she made time for it. Yeah, she was late for a lot of stuff. That wasn't okay. But for me, like I said earlier, like I wake up early enough to give myself the time
Yeah.
because I am not an evening person. By the end of the day, like I'm tired. I'm definitely not going to work out at the end of the day. It's too dark and cold for me to go for a walk. I don't want to leave him home alone. So
Yeah.
in the morning is really the only time I have to create that space for me. So again, it depends on what's going on that day, but generally I'll give myself an hour and a half every single morning. So if I have to wake up at 4:30, some days I get to sleep till 5, depending on if he needs to go to school or what needs to happen. But
Yeah.
again, that practice can be 5 minutes. Take your journal in the bathroom with you if you have to. Like, do what
Yeah.
you just how many of us go straight to checking our email first thing in the morning, or scrolling for 10, 15 minutes aimlessly, or texting somebody that bullshit that you should have just wrote in your journal?
Yep.
That's the time that you need. And that's why I said in the beginning, pick one of those three things. Either start with journaling, go for your clarity walk, move your body somehow, go to the gym, put a bike in your house. Who cares if it has to be in the living room? My spin bike was in my living room for 3 years. I don't care. It was there and it was like, hello, you better ride me. You know,
Yep.
like, so put things in place that make it easy. So if it's laying your workout clothes out, like, so you don't have to think about it in the morning, putting your journal by the toilet if you want, or put your candle and your journal next to each other. Set yourself up to win.
I love that. And so you said one thing that I think is huge with habits is like set yourself up to win. And the other thing you said is like, just start with one thing. Like, you don't have to do all of this stuff. Like, just start with one thing and start with 5 minutes. Take a 5-minute walk around your house or around your block, or like just start somewhere. And I would say, if you say you don't have time to do this stuff, you don't have time not to do this stuff. Like, not only are you going to help yourself, but you're going to help your kids as a byproduct of that. Right.
Yeah.
And so for parents, it's even like, for me, I'm not really responsible for anyone but my dogs. So it's just for me. But for a parent, it's like anything you do, like your kid also like really soaks up all those habits and stuff that you develop.
Would you, like, that's a great example. If you're just a pet mom or dad, would you tell your dog, like, I'm not in the mood today to let you go to the bathroom or walk you? What happened?
No, she's a priority in the morning. Yeah.
Those are non-negotiables. And that's what we talk about. And if you have teenagers, drag them into these rituals with you, make them do them with you, make them journal with you. Even if they write, this is so stupid, I can't believe my mom is making me do this.
Absolutely.
One day they'll write something different. I promise you. Like, when I was bad, I'm putting up air quotes. When I was bad, my mom would make me write like 100 times. I will not disrespect my mom. I will not disrespect my teacher. I will not talk back. I will not slap my brother. Like, whatever it was, she would make me write it like 100 times. And 9 times out of 10, I never did whatever I had to write 100 times ever again.
Yeah.
You know? And the writing practice is strong and it's so real. And I think when you bring your kids into those walks in the morning, like quiet time, nobody has a phone.
Yeah.
Let's talk to each other. Even if you don't, you just create the space for maybe at the last 2 minutes of the walk, she might tell you something, or she might open up about something, or tell you her biggest dream so that you can help bring it to fruition. Like, if you create the space, that's where the magic can happen. When we stay in the busyness of doing, you can never have time for the magic.
Wow. I love that so much. When you are too busy doing, you don't leave time for the magic. And it really is like, just having that walk is going to drastically improve your relationship, because how often in today's busy world, and I know as a kid, like always going from school to practice, like never having just like a moment, like that would have been huge to just have like a 10-minute walk with mom in the morning. Like, I think that's a game changer right there.
And I'll be honest, like, I find a lot of my coaching clients, they get so uncomfortable with downtime or quiet time.
Yeah.
Like, they almost, it's like, I know I need to relax. I know I need to like, just like chill for a little bit, but like the list of shit to do is so long and so, weighing on them that they can't even take that time to journal and meditate in the morning. Like, the whole time they're on the spin bike, they're thinking of like 8 other things they could or should be doing.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, when you prioritize your days and your weeks, that shit will get done. So if you are somebody that's like that and your list of to-dos is crazy in your head, start the Sunday night out, write all of the things that need to get done that week, not that you want to get done, what needs to get done. And then take that list of 10 things and drop it to the first 3 and start there. Okay, it's Monday, I'm going to do this one thing. And until you get that one thing done, do not move to the next thing.
Yeah.
As parents, as moms, especially, like, we are like, think we're queens of multitasking. I will have 8 different things going at my house. They eventually all get done, but how well? Probably not that well. And I just feel so scattered. If I would have just taken 20 minutes to do the one thing, then move to the next, it's like,
yes, it like expands time when you like do all of these things and all trying to do all of them in one day.
Yes. And that's where I think setting examples as a mom too, that yes, you can be and do all of the things. You want to encourage your daughters and your children to be able to do all that. But at the end of the day, like, you want to do things well and you want to show up and be present. So if you're not present and you're not going to do things to the best of your ability, I'm
Yep.
sorry, like half-ass is not like good enough. Like messy action is fine. Like where you gave your all, that's one thing, right? Because you might not be athletically gifted or the most smartest kid in the class, but if you know you put the effort in and you tried as hard as you could, like you're gonna go to sleep at the end of the night and be proud of yourself.
I love that so much. So I was watching one of your videos on Instagram recently, and you were talking about zone of genius, which I think is awesome. So you're talking about zone of genius. I was, listening to that. So first off, I want to talk about it. First off, what is a zone of genius?
So the way it was kind of described to me, it was like, what are you really good at and what do you love doing? Now, you might love doing something that you're not really good at, but if you love doing it, you're going to take the time to get better at it. So for me, like that idea of staying in your zone of genius came when I started my own business. It was
Yeah.
like, what do I love the most about what I do? And even in a service industry, like doing hair, what part of the business do I love the most? I love doing the actual hair. I don't like doing the cleanup. I don't like doing all the side work. I don't like shampooing my clients. I only want to do these 4 things. Okay, well then you better get an assistant to pay and help you run your business better so that you're not doing the other shit half-assed like I just talked about. Because then my client experience isn't going to be as good. And then I can elevate my prices and then I can show up as a better version of myself,
Yes.
And then at the end of the day, I'm not going to feel like, oh, I don't like this anymore. Well, what don't you like? Well, I don't like doing this, this, and this. Well, could you fix that? Yeah. So we create our own problems in everything that we do. And it's like, how can you step back and say, what about this do I love? What am I really good at? And then really go deep on what it is that you are good at and what you want to be doing.
Do you think this idea just popped into my head? Do you think so? Zone of genius, you can definitely use it with your business. Do you think a parent could use it for their parenting? And if so, like how?
Definitely. So my zone of genius is not 4th grade math.
Okay.
It is not. This is a perfect, like, small example. So his dad is really good at math. And so I've put a lot of pressure on his dad to step in. And I'm like, this is your task, right? Like, I will work with him on reading. I love reading. I love writing. I love doing like spelling tests with him and all that kind of stuff. He's like, deal. Now we're in split households, so it can be challenging, but like, I'll be like, FaceTime your dad and do your homework with him. And so he will take the 5, or he'll tell him we can FaceTime at this time and they'll work on math together.
Yeah.
And now the last 3 nights is just recent. He's in his room doing his math by himself. Like the confidence that he had the support, stepped in. Now the kid's doing his own damn math homework. Before he was like, please help me, please help me. Like he pretend like he didn't know how to do it.
Right. Yeah.
I had to pour the confidence into him that you can do this. Here, I'll even help work through it with you. And I would like silently cry as I had to do the 4th grade math.
Silently.
My God, it's awful. But like my zone of genius is the reading, the writing, and even like we'll go into sports, right? So his dad had taken a snowboard. He's so good, but he wouldn't go on the big jumps at Bear Mountain. He wouldn't go over them. He's like, I'm scared. I'm gonna fall. I'm gonna get hurt. I don't like jumping anymore. I won't say I'm too old, but I have nothing to prove. So I have no desire to go over those jumps anymore. So I go, hey, bud, I'll coast over them with you. Let's just go together. You'll see they're not that scary. And so he like, oh, okay. So we went over the first one. I said, it wasn't that bad. I go, I bet if I took a video of you, you'd want to get a good video, right? So I just built the hype all afternoon. We built the hype. And then finally we went down, had lunch, and he started putting his gear back on. I'm like, where are you going? He's like, I'm going to go on that jump. I said, why? How are you feeling? He's like, confident. And I was oh my God.
That's amazing.
Ago, and I couldn't have been more proud. And like there's still freak out moments that he has where he gets in his own head too, but like those moments you're like, okay, all of it's for something.
I love that. Like, so it's like zone of genius. You can use it for like all these kind of different areas in your life as a parent. So it's like, because I think a lot of times moms especially are like, I have to be everything to everyone. Like, and I feel like that can be a little bit destructive, especially for like moms that maybe they have their own goals and they actually have ambitions and they want to do other things, which that is, you do that beautifully, I would say. So what advice would you give to moms who have these big ambitions and also have kids with big ambitions? Like, how do you balance that?
It's tough, not gonna lie. Balance is an overused word that people are seeking because balance means something different to everybody else, to
Yeah.
everybody, right? And
Yep.
some days are gonna feel in alignment and some days are gonna feel really fucking hard. And some days you're gonna be like, well, that wasn't so bad. So it's like taking everything in stride. And again, going back to what we talked about in the beginning with perspective. Um, I've always been super independent, super ambitious, super like overachiever. I think it stems from like some sort of trauma of like people pleasing and always trying to prove myself.
Yep.
But with that being said, I watched my mom juggle all that she did at 19 and pursue a career in real estate and build what she built. Now, looking back, there were times where I wish my mom was home on the weekends.
Yeah.
She wasn't. But I drove around in the minivan and we did listings together and I watched my mom hustle and I watched my mom move us from this 1-bedroom apartment in a shitty neighborhood to buying this amazing house when I was 12 years old. I got to experience all that with her. I got to see what heart and hustle and drive and working, like what came out of that. So while I looked back and said to myself, I would rather have a kid when I'm a little bit older so that I can have weekends with him. That's
Yeah.
different. Like I choose my time now and I see my mom now. All of us are grown out of the house. My youngest brother's just turned 30. All she has now is time to work and build her business. And she's the best grandma ever now. Like she's so involved. She's so like all the things. And so I think you have to give yourself grace around you can chase your goals, you can do your things, but try to give it with grace and flow. Like when I'm home, I carve out, like last night, I really wanted to work on some things. So I made him go to his room and like several times while I was working on my stuff, I'm like, God, you're such a bad mom. You should be in their room hanging out with him. Like, I only get him a couple days a week because I share him with his dad. I'm like, couldn't you? Nope, this has to get done today. And I just, at the end of the day, we snuggled for 10 minutes. We read together. It was an impactful 10 or 15 minutes, but there were 3 hours in the evening that I could have spent with him. But you have to give yourself just as much as you give your kids.
Oh, yes, you really do. And I've talked to so many moms that feel like I've lost myself in pursuit of my kids' dreams. Right. And I think that was so powerful that like when like you maybe don't always have as much time as you want with your kid, but when you do have that time, it's like you are just so present, right? Because there's so many times where it's like you have family time, but everyone's on their phone or like you're checking emails and it's like nobody's really present with each other. Whereas if you're just present with each other for 15 minutes, that's way more impactful than just like half-assing your presence, for an hour. So I think that's huge is like when you do have the time, chase your goals, but also when you're with your kid, just be like ultra present and like you have to compartmentalize, maybe is the right word. And like really leave your work at the door when it's time to be with your kids. That's how I see it.
It is like that. And I just had a perfect example. I went on vacation for a week and, it was hard for me to be gone from Monday to Saturday. That was really hard. I'm like, okay, I can only do vacations for like 4 days. I can't be gone from him that long and I can't be away from my business for that long. It just doesn't feel good. So it's like learning to go with what feels good. Again, everybody's going to be different. I was on a couple of the days, this couple friend of mine came and her husband works and she doesn't. They have 3 kids and she's the primary caregiver. He's like the provider. Okay. And so even when they were there, she said, can't you just carve out 1 or 2 hours a night where you're like off your phone and totally present with us? I think she meant for me, like for herself, like on that vacation. And he was like, I can't do it. And as she was telling me, I could see she was upset visually and she was just like frustrated with it. But at the same time, she had to shift her perspective and be like, okay, because he does all of that, I get to XYZ. I get to be the one to take my kids to school. We get to put them in a really nice private school. I get to take them to all their extracurriculars. Yeah, he's maybe not there all the time. And in your mind, maybe that's not what you signed up for. But at the end of the day, like, how do I get like an umbrella view? Like life's good. Everyone's taken care of. Like in 10 years, when it's just him and I, and these kids are all out of the house, like there will be more time. There will be more space, So I think it's never exactly the way we like hope things will be and like having expectations around how any of it's going to be just really kills it for everybody. So day by day, like week by week, but setting things in place, even if it's 15 minutes where you all sit down and eat together.
Yeah.
And everyone's dinner doesn't have to be an hour. It can be 15 minutes. And like when we go out to dinner, we put our phones away for the first, like while we're waiting for our food and we'll play tic-tac-toe on the napkin.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome.
But it's like gets us talking to each other. We're laughing. It's competitive. Like it feeds both of us. And then the food comes and like we eat. Okay, afterwards, you want to be on your phone for another 10 minutes? Go ahead.
Yeah. So it's not about quantity, it's more about quality, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I
I'm
have
sure
a funny
people
story. I've never shared my dreams on a podcast before, but I have a funny story related to all of this, where in my dream, I adopted two kids, like a 4-year-old and a baby. And I was like, oh my gosh, what did I do? Like literally my life is ruined. I just thought like my life is over. It's ruined. I can't do anything anymore because I have two kids. And then 4 days went by and my mother-in-law was like, you forgot to change the baby's diaper. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. And I like forgot to change the baby's diaper. And I was like, oh my gosh, why did I have kids? My life is over. I can't do anything anymore. So it's not like that though. Like it doesn't have to be like that. And I probably will never.
Side note,
Yeah.
a lot of new parents feel like their life
Yes.
is.
Yes. And that's why I say that story, because
Yeah.
like I don't think I'll ever be a parent. But I'm sure a lot of people feel that way. Like when you have kids, it's like 1,000,000% revolves around them. And I don't really think that that's even, obviously it's not healthy for you as a parent, but I don't even think it's healthy for the kids, to be honest.
No. And I just had lunch with one of my girlfriends yesterday her daughter is 3 months old now, and she is strong as fuck. Like she's a tough chick. She's awesome. She was super independent. She had a business for 12 years in the beauty industry, and then she got into photography, and she loves Grant Cardone, Elaine Cardone, like champagne, the yachts, the jets. She was like, that is the type of man I'm going to meet. That's the kind of life I'm going to have. Someone has to read books. They have to be into personal development. They need to da 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 da. And I remember being like, girl, manifest that shit. Like, okay, if that's the type of life you want. And then we would go to dinner occasionally. There's 3 of us girls that always hung out. And one day the other girl, she always calls us on our shit. She's a great coach. And she was like, maybe it's not going to come in the package you think it does. Why can't you just be the one that reads the books? And
Yeah.
Why can't your man just be like your husband or whatever? And she was like, well, and then she meets this guy whom she knew from high school. She's like, he wants to go on the boat. Anyways, long story short, he lived where she didn't want to live. He was a plumber. He was all these things that she was like, ew. And this guy's amazing. Like he takes care of her. He owns a plumbing company. They have just the most beautiful life.
Yeah.
And she was like, that is what I wanted. I wanted to have this beautiful life with this supportive partner and like all these things. And now she has it. And she's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted this. Now I have this perfect little angel baby. She's like, but what about me? What about all the things I wanted for myself, like independently? And so she was really opening up yesterday, talking about how she was struggling with all of it. And she knew, she was like, I'm not working out the way I want. I'm not sleeping the way I want. Things are weird. They're not right now. I said, this is just a little season in your life. I said, look, mine's already 10. It goes by like that. Try to find moments in the day where you can enjoy it. The rest of the time, power through, get through it. It's like anything, like a grueling workout or a diet that you're, or something like related to something more that this will end too. So, just letting her open up and talking about it. I say, if you're in the early stages of parenthood, you're going to fuck up. Yeah. You're not supposed to know how to do it all. Like lean on other people who are in the same arena that you're in right now and be around other parents, raising their children the way you want to raise your kid. If somebody at kids in baseball now, like my son's in baseball, like who's the parents that are always there? I want to hang out with them. Who are the parents that do stuff with their kids on the weekends? I want, hey, can we come? Like I'll invite myself because I want my son to see those interactions and I want that kind of stuff to go on. So yeah, you're going to mess up along the way and just be kind to yourself and, keep working hard the next day. Change it up. If things don't work, change it up.
And I think one really huge thing is, there's one of my mentors always says this is like, the more present I am as a parent, like the more I can give that to my daughter, but I have to really focus on myself first in order to be the best version of myself so that I can give that to other people. So I think that's important to remember as a parent, that the way that you're going to become the best parent is honestly by working on yourself first. And I think that can kind of like go by the wayside and people say, oh, that's selfish to focus on yourself first, but it's really not. Like that's the least selfish thing you could do, in my opinion.
I couldn't agree more.
We're on the same page.
Yep.
So Jessica, we had some bombs there, like so many. As you were talking, I'm like, whoa, like I got to write this down. This is going to be a clip. So amazing stuff that I think is going to be so valuable for moms, especially, but all parents. So where can people find you? Where can people connect with you if they like your vibe? I love your vibe. So where can people connect with you?
I have a podcast also called the Beauty Inspires Beauty Podcast. So that has its own Instagram page. You can go geek out on that. It's all on Apple, Spotify. And then I just have my regular IG page, which is my name, Jessica Burgio. And I just love to, build confidence, talk about things that motivate you, and I'll always keep it real as, AF.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's my own genius. It's like, sometimes it comes off a little bit harsh, but it's always with love for being, the one to call people out on their shit. Cause it's always us that get in our own way. Any excuses that you have, it's your own shit. We all have circumstances. We all have past shit that wasn't great, or traumas or excuses. Like, we can make lists of those, but what are you going to do today that's going to be different to get you where you want to be?
yeah. I mean, I think parents and moms that follow you, like it's going to be a game changer because you are like so real. And I feel like in today's world, it's like we like tiptoe around things so much, but you just like shoot straight and you just tell it how it is. And I think that more people need that. And so if you are on Instagram, parents, make sure you go follow. And then the Beauty Inspires Beauty podcast, which I was on. When was I on? It was like, I don't know. It was a while ago.
Yeah. Yeah, go
Yeah.
check out that episode. It was really good too.
Yeah, it was a good episode. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on, Jess. It was amazing. Thank you for, providing so much value to moms and parents. And I think it's really going to make a big difference in their lives and in their kids' lives. So thank you so much.
Thank you.